benefits of abolition of vaccination. Dr. Montague R. Liverson, Convis Professor, Theobald Smith of error in claiming that vaccination prevents smallpox. Merits of Béchamp and Pasteur compared. Montague R. Liverson, M.D., a graduate of the German University of Göttingen, a famous scientist who is also a scholar in modern languages and reads fluently in both French and German, has taken up the cudgels against Professor Theobald Smith, who in his Lowell Institute lecture championed vaccination. Dr. Liverson is an expert in the diagnosis and treatment of smallpox known on 2 continents. He is opposed to vaccination. His open letter to Professor Smith follows. Dear Sir, a clipping from the Boston Evening Transcript of Wednesday, March 31st, 1909, has been sent to me containing what purports to be a report of your 5th Lowell University lecture, accompanied by a request that I make such comments thereon as might be needed to correct erroneous impressions likely to be conveyed by it. The task is difficult, especially by reason of the vagueness of the laudatory report in the transcript on many of the points you seem to have touched upon, but I believe the errors of the report ascribed to you to be so seriously misleading that I am bound to make the attempt. It is reported that you had shown in a previous paper 1. How many may be guarded against smallpox by means of vaccine that has been modified by culture in the cow, and that 2. This process so changes its character that there is a loss of infection, and 3. It is able to produce disease only at the place to which it is applied. As a student of pathology, who for the past 15 years has devoted himself almost exclusively to the study of smallpox and vaccination and the disease conditions induced by the latter, I have never been able to find any evidence in support of the first statement, and I have found overwhelming evidence in disproof of the third. Both are assumptions without evidence to support them, and if you will favor me with a visit, I will show you a large collection of drawings, illustrative and deplorable constitutional disease conditions produced directly by, quote, vaccine that has been modified by culture in a cow, including cases which that pronounced pro-vaccinist and celebrated surgeon Jonathan Hutchinson reluctantly confessed to be of syphilitic character, imparted some of them not by arm-to-arm vaccination, but by vaccination direct from the cow. You are reported to have stated that, quote, this discovery has been of inestimable value to the human race, since it is prophylactic against smallpox, end quote. Such an assertion is not supported by and evidence, as I do not suppose you to be capable of willfully fooling your audience. I am bound to believe that you have yourself been fooled. Unhappily, laws enacted by ignorant lawmakers, dogmas laid down by knaves, and adopted by the misguided authorities of our medical schools, and by them maintained by the persecution of those who do not assent thereto, have made it to the interest of the medical profession to be ignorant of facts and the gravest importance to mankind, and therefore they remain ignorant thereof. Even the garbled official statistics of all 3 countries, which have been so diluted as to make the attempt at cowpox prophylactics, prove that there is absolutely no protection, neither for life, nor till puberty, nor for 10 years, nor for 7, nor for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, nor even 1 year, nor yet for any portion of 1 year. In fooling themselves and mankind, the vaccinating officials have not only garbled their own statistics, but they have used official statistics with what the great master of statistics, Dr. Adolf Vogt, described as inconceivably superficiality. The report states that you showed how the arm-to-arm process was supplanted about 50 years ago by a bovine vaccine. But why did you not acknowledge the fact that for more than 50 years, the pro-vaccinists positively denied that vaccination ever caused the syphilitic condition or a condition resembling the syphilitic, and persisted in such denial for years even after Ricord had reluctantly admitted that it had done so, and even denounced as liars the noble and learned men who proved it. Neither it is 50, but only about 25 years since such vaccinating was general. And even today, arm-to-arm vaccination is practiced in many places. Is it possible that, as you stated, as reported, quote, that the operation was controlled by antiseptic treatment and that the quality of the vaccine was rigidly tested, end quote? Pardon me for saying that assertion so rash and so misleading cannot be excused in a gentleman of your eminence, when a very small amount of investigation would have taught you that the pretenses to such effect were the merest shams. You are reported to exhibit most convincing graphic diagrams of the death rates in different cities before and after establishing compulsory vaccination, convincing that could have been only to those who knew nothing about this subject. The truth is that after desperately fighting against improvements in sanitation, the people of England and the people of many parts of the United States, led by opponents of vaccination, forced sanitary reforms upon their municipal authorities, often in spite of continued opposition by medical officials. You are reported to have said that owing to the subtle nature of the disease, vaccination has been necessary against it. You here assume smallpox to be a thing, an entity. This blunder is committed by nearly all the followers of the self-styled regular school, and it will probably be a new idea to you to be told that neither smallpox nor any other disease is an entity, but is a condition. You are reported to have quoted approvingly the fact that Germany insists on 2 vaccinations, one in infancy and the other about the age of 12, while Japan has 3. In addition, the Japanese troops have vaccinations of their own. Now I chance to have before me a report of a speech of Baron Kahiro Kakaki at the Jubilee dinner of the Incorporated Society of Medical Officers of Health, wherein he stated that every child in Japan is vaccinated before it is 6 months old, revaccinated at 6 years, again at 14, and that all men were revaccinated on entering the army, while a further revaccination was enforced if an outbreak of smallpox occurred. And yet, in the lecture delivered by the same gentleman on May 12, 1906 at St. Thomas Hospital, he stated that 347 soldiers of the Japanese army took smallpox and 33 died of it during the Japanese War. But I still have further Japanese statistics wherewith to enlighten you and, I hope, the deluded people. We learn from the Japan Weekly Chronicle that up to the 25th of January 1908, there has been no fewer than 3,344 cases of smallpox in Kobe since the outbreak of the epidemic in November 1907, and that of this number, 182 had died, 1,104 had recovered, and 1,158 were still under treatment. Later returns up to February 20th, 1908 shows the total increased to 4,850, of whom no fewer than 2,009 had died. As regards these dismal facts, there is a conspiracy of silence among official doctors in which they are almost universally aided by the medical press and too generally by the lay. I have never seen any explanation, even attempted, of the following gruesome statistics as to smallpox and vaccination in England. From 1847 until 1853, vaccination was encouraged. It was made obligatory from 1854 until 1867 and was enforced with cruel violence from 1868 until 1898. There was an epidemic of smallpox in England in 1857 until 1859, in which there died 14,244 persons. There was another in 1863 until 1865, in which there died 20,059 persons. And in 1870 until 1872, there was another, in which there died 44,840 persons, nearly all of whom had been vaccinated, and many of them revaccinated one or more times. In 1870 and 71, Leicester suffered from smallpox as much as any other large city in England, and then she began her revolt against vaccination. The following table shows a remarkable result, not only as to smallpox, but as to the general health of that city. Great sanitary improvements have been effected during the period of 1870 until 1880, whereof the abandonment of vaccination was not the least important. Quote,